Oh my goodness, guys, you are watching a historic video here today. I just made a crazy move. I've been in the stock market for 12 years and I just did my first short sale I have ever done in the history of me being in the stock market. I did it here today. This is crazy. This is a historic video for the channel, for me, forever, okay? In case anybody's confused on what the heck short selling a stock means, it means you're flipping your own flapjacks, essentially. So you're betting that a stock price is gonna go down, okay? Rather than usually we buy stocks because we believe the stock price is gonna go up. I'm making essentially a bet out there that I believe this particular stock is gonna go down and down in a major way. You know me, I've kind of made my name out there basically on the back of me going long stocks. Specifically, a lot of growth stocks out there in general. If you look at the public account, for instance, it's a whole bunch of long positions. That's all it is essentially. I don't usually short stocks. I don't usually do even options for the most part. Every once in a while, I'll do an options play. I bought some put options on Ford a few years ago, did pretty well on those. But outside of that, like I never really bet on stocks to go down. And this is literally the first time I've ever shorted a stock, okay? So in this video here today, we're gonna get into what stock this is, okay? What stock is it? How much did I short for and why did I short for that specific amount? Also, we'll get into like why am I so bearish on this company? Why do I think its stock price is gonna go down considerably over, let's say, the next year or so, okay? What are the risks for me in this position? Like what can go wrong here? And lastly, we'll talk about, am I gonna short more of this stock and at what price would I short more of the stock and for how much? Hope you guys enjoy this video. As always, this video is sponsored by Dark Side Jeremy. If you don't know him, check him out, okay? Make sure you smash the thumbs up for the Dark Side Jeremy. And if you haven't gotten in Dark Side Stock Hub yet, go ahead and do it. It's the first link in the description down there. Alrighty guys, let's get into this. What stock is this? Well, here's a little hint. You guys know all the gyms have been closed down. Some of them are starting to open back up, obviously. But obviously with the whole Roni situation, tons of gyms all over the United States and across the world have closed. Tons of people have put their memberships on pause or canceled their memberships over time. And it's led this one company to thrive on the back of this. And their name is Peloton Interactive, ticker symbol Peloton, P-T-O-N. This stock has been about as hot as you can possibly be. Look at the stock price, okay? You go back to, 6 months ago, this was a $30 stock. Here today, it's over 120. I mean, talk about a massive move. We're talking over 4x. Over 4x, and I'm not talking about 4x, I'm talking about a 4x of the stock in literally 6 months. Incredible, okay? How much did I go ahead and short for? I went ahead and shorted for right around $10,000, a little under $10,000. So $9,752 to be exact and 70 cents. I went ahead and shorted, and I shorted at $121.91, okay? That was basically shorting 80 shares out there. Now, if I wanted to go ahead and cover my position here today, which I'm certainly not gonna go ahead and do, but if I wanted to cover my position, I would basically make $88.70 profit as of right now. I did the move like as soon as the market pretty much opened today. So I'm up 0.91% so far on this Peloton short position. But obviously I'm not in this for a 1% move. We'll see what happens with this over time. Why am I so confident that I would make this my first short sale ever of my life, okay? Well, first off, why $10,000? You know me, I have millions invested out there, so why only, let's say, $10,000? I'm a newbie shorter. This is my first ever short. I can't go into this like guns blazing, like, oh, I'm gonna short 100,000 of the stock. I'm gonna short $250,000. I'm gonna short $500,000. No, okay, just no. Like, I'm a brand new newbie to shorting. This is my first time ever. Just because I've been in the stock market picking stocks to go long for 12 years, that doesn't mean anything when it comes to shorting. Yeah, I have a really good understanding of the market and stocks and things like that, but just because I might be decent at this, it doesn't mean I will be decent at this. So I need to limit my risk. Let's just put it that way. That's why I did, 10K or a little under 10K in this rather than like 100K or something like that, okay? So why am I so confident this stock is gonna go down a lot, okay? So 2020, these levels of revenues are completely unsustainable in my opinion. The company has freak growth going for them. like it's just completely unsustainable, okay? Your gym gets closed, all right? And the Roni's going around. So you're like, guess I need to like get some home workout equipment, right? Like that's the logical next step if you go to the gym. And I look at even us, like in my household, we've bought a lot of like at-home gym equipment over the past, I don't know, 6-7 months since Roni took off, right? We bought a punching bag, we bought a jump rope, we bought boxing gloves, we bought this, like a medicine ball, 25-pound medicine ball. We bought a couple kettlebells, a 35-pound one, a 15-pound one off Amazon and from some other stores. And anybody that likes to work out essentially has probably bought a lot of at-home gym equipment recently, okay? Which can also include Peloton. And by the way, I just want to say, if the person that detailed the X over at the house today is watching this video, it looks beautiful. You did a phenomenal job. Peloton is its own planet right now. The expectations are ridiculous for a Peloton. So unsustainable and so unrealistic in my personal opinion. Obviously, this all has to play out, but I just don't think, anywhere close to these levels of expectations are realistic longer term. And I own some stocks that have some insanely high expectations, like Tesla Tesla and the Planet sells Jack Jackson, okay? So when it comes to those stocks, super high expectations. But the difference is between a Tesla Tesla or a Planet that sells Jack Jackson, for instance, the difference is essentially, I think those companies are sustainable. I think those companies are going to have massive growth for a long time into the future. Peloton, I am not confident in at all as far as that one. I just don't feel like, that's why I have it crossed out here. I just don't feel like that one is sustainable in terms of its stock price and in terms of its underlying business at the end of the day. Look at this, okay? The latest quarter they're going to report here, pretty soon, over the next, month or two, right? That quarter is basically a fiscal year 2021 quarter because they're already into their fiscal year 2021, although we're still in calendar year, obviously, 2020. The analysts are expecting out there this company to grow 279%, okay? That is so far unsustainable, I can't even describe it, okay? Now, maybe they hit that number. I have no prediction on if they will miss or hit that number or what's going to go on there, okay? All I know is that's ridiculous, almost 300% growth there, okay? But when we look at the current fiscal year, which is going to be over this next 4 quarters, analysts have them growing around 100%. I actually don't think they're going to grow 100% over this next fiscal year. I really don't. I don't think they're going to have that much growth. And when you have these type of huge expectations, and if all of a sudden you don't come in with these crazy numbers, guess what? Investors start flooding out of that stock pretty dang fast. But not just that. The biggest divergence between what analysts have, Wall Street have, and what I believe is when we look at their fiscal year 22, okay, which is a full year from now when that fiscal year will start, okay? And analysts have them grow in that year 33%. I think they're going to shrink revenues that year. You heard me right. I think revenues will be down that year versus analysts expecting the company to grow. I mean, you're talking about if that happens, okay, you're talking about a gargantuan move downward in a stock because you talk about going from crazy, ridiculous growth to if I'm expecting the company to shrink revenues, I mean, that's a massive difference. Or let's say they do grow revenues, but it's only like 10% in that fiscal year. That's still going to make people flood out of that stock left and right. Let's put it that way, because people are in this company for its crazy, ridiculous growth. And you have to keep up these completely unsustainable levels of growth that I just don't believe are sustainable at all for this corporation, okay? Peloton, their latest earnings, they were amazing, okay? Sales surge 172%. Now remember, analysts are expecting this upcoming quarter sales to grow 200 and almost 80%, okay? So they expected to re-accelerate even more sales, all right? And they said they expect strong demand to continue into 21. We'll see how that turns out. I think front half, yeah, I could see that for their fiscal year 21. The front half, yeah. But it's the second half that I'm really thinking about. Remember, Peloton, they sell very expensive equipment. It's not like this stuff is cheap, okay? It's not like everybody out there can just afford this. They're different things, which are basically like bikes and like treadmills, okay? Usually run from like $2,000 to like $4,500 or so, okay? you know, this isn't a mass market product, okay? I mean, there are a lot of people out there that can't even afford, like, you know, an installment plan at a gym or something like that, or like getting started at a gym. Never mind paying $2,000 or $4,500 for one of these bikes or treadmills that for a lot of folks will end up collecting dust. I'm just gonna be honest, okay? But now let's get into one really big thing, okay? And this is massive, and I think this is one of those things that's gonna cause Wall Street to flood out of this stock when it starts turning the wrong way, okay? Look at this. This is out of their latest earnings. Peloton also has proven that once it hooks a new customer, they tend to stick around. Average net monthly connected fitness churn was 0.75% in the latest period. And it's predicting fiscal 2021 churn will remain under 1%. So this company has essentially this belief or this like past track record that their churn rate, so in terms of like somebody, you know, pays, you know, let's say $3,000 or $4,000 for one of these, they go ahead and they get on the subscription plan, okay? And basically there's this expectation that churn will stay under 1%, okay? That's what people expect out there. What I believe is going to happen is as gyms open back up and some of these people just realize they don't really use these devices, I believe they're going to start to cancel subscriptions, and that churn rate is going to go much above 1%. And when you're used to always basically telling folks churn's under 1%, all of a sudden your churn rate starts going higher and higher and higher and higher and higher and higher and higher. Remember, Peloton's attracted a lot of people that aren't even necessarily super about the Peloton brand, right? Or like we're looking super forward to this. They're just like people that are like, we need to work out somehow. Oh, Peloton, I saw the commercial for it. Let me buy that. So those people are much more likely to churn, okay, and basically cancel their subscription. If that happens, Peloton's all of a sudden in a situation where they having to explain to investors, oh yeah, our churn rate just was 1.5%. Our churn rate was just 2%. Our churn rate's 3%. And investors start freaking out and they're like, oh my gosh, like people are canceling subscriptions. Is this even a good business model? Is this a sustainable business model? This is what I believe will happen with Peloton over the next year or two, okay? So look for a big churn uptick in the second half of 2021, in my opinion. I think it's gonna go well above 1%. I think the company's going to do everything it can to try to keep it under 1%, even if that means downgrading plans and having like trying to put the best deals ever out there. But I don't think it's going to be sustainable. It's like putting bubble gum in a dam that's leaking water, in my opinion. That's what it's going to end up being in the second half of 21 and going into 22. And the stock reminds me of some old, like two old stocks that were really hot companies like 5 years ago, 4 or 5 years ago. It reminds me a lot of these companies. Fitbit and GoPro. Oh my gosh, okay? It reminds me a lot of these companies. Two companies that were obviously hurt very bad by competitors, and also just the fact that their market is somewhat niche. As Peloton's market is somewhat niche, not everybody can buy a $3,000, $4,000 bike or something like that, okay? And Fitbit and GoPro, obviously, there's a certain segment of customers that like their devices, but at the end of the day, they're niche, okay? And remember, GoPro was a super high-flying stock. Like shortly after its IPO, it shot all the way up to, it was over $90 a share at one point, okay? Yahoo Finance, if you go on there, it has it at like 87, but it was over 90 at one point GoPro stock was, okay? Today, they're still a public company and they're $6 a share, okay? Obviously, we know how that story turned out. Fitbit, this was another high flyer. Look at the stock in 2015. It was $45 a share. And they had to get bought by Google for like, I don't know, $6 a share or something around that price, needless to say. The company's not even public anymore. And they had to sell out for, just a joke price compared to where that company was trading at its highs, because people were so excited about these stocks and they believed like, I don't know, everybody was going to have a Fitbit or everybody was going to have a GoPro. And obviously it was unrealistic the growth those companies had, okay? And when it comes to Peloton, you look at competitors, I see more and more Peloton competitors by the second, okay? They're popping out at anywhere and they're gonna undercut Peloton's pricing, and so which is gonna make it even harder for Peloton to attract some customers who are maybe more on a budget, who are like, maybe I'll trade up to a Peloton, or maybe I'll just get this other one that's just as good, or in their eyes, just as good, for let's say $1,200 or something like that, or $2,000 versus maybe a Peloton's more expensive than that. So like, I'll just get this. Believe me, okay, the Chinese knockoffs and all these companies are going to be producing these bikes in mass, as well as the treadmills and everything across the board, and they're going to use all their marketing dollars to plow back into the business and to try to grow it, obviously. and it just makes for an ugly situation. Look at all the money that's being raised out there for Peloton type competitors. You see it everywhere over the last year or two. This company raised 100 million, this company raised 100 million. I mean, all these Peloton competitors have been raising money in VC land like crazy because people have seen what happened with Peloton and its massive valuation. Like, man, I want a piece of that. I want to grow a company to have 35 or $40 billion valuation like Peloton has. Peloton has a bigger market cap here today than I believe like General Motors and some of those, like big, huge corporations and things like that. Like, it's amazing. It's absolutely amazing. And the competition is going to come more fierce than ever. And the worst part is I think it's going to be a shrinking market over the next few years as, Roni becomes a thing of the past and people get back used to going to gyms and things like that again, okay? Risks. Now, what could go wrong for me in this position, okay? The first thing is I'm wrong. Like, let's just say I'm wrong. Maybe I'm wrong and Peloton continues to grow, like they continue to beat analyst numbers essentially. Let's say they beat this coming quarter and also they, grow more than 100% in the next fiscal year and the company just continues to be a growth beast. They continue to keep churn rate under 1% over the next year or two. Like, I could just flat out be wrong with this, and that's obviously a risk, okay? The second big risk is that I'm actually right about this, and everything I believe in plays out. Peloton starts missing numbers. The churn rate starts increasing over the next year or two, and everything just, kind of gets worse for Peloton. But maybe people keep buying the stock, or they don't sell the stock, or something else becomes a focus. It's like, well, they were really profitable this quarter, so they're going to be, much more profitable. Like you never know. There's been plenty of people that have shorted stocks over time, and they were right, but they still ended up losing money on the move because people just kept buying in and kept buying in that stock, or the market just pushed up like crazy and it kept pushing up any stock. And Peloton could be that stock, okay? So it is potential. I'm wrong in this situation. There's potential I'll be right and people just don't sell the stock and they just continue to buy it, okay? Now I have to go ahead and limit my risk in this position because remember, when you're shorting a stock, you have unlimited losses, okay? Unlimited losses. Like, technically a stock could go to infinity. So, you could have technically unlimited losses when you short a stock versus when you buy stock, the worst case scenario is that stock goes to zero, right? And hopefully if you're looking at balance sheets, profitability, things like that, that never happens. But that's worst case scenario. But shorting, losses are unlimited, so I have to define my levels of risk. How much risk am I willing to take out there, okay? And so here's what I'm looking at. I'm looking at 100. If the stock goes to 170 or over, I'll probably cover my shares and take my loss and cry my eyes. I'll say, I hate shorting. I lost so much money. Oh my gosh. Okay, so that's probably where I define my risk there on the upside. And also on the downside, I would say I'll probably cover around $60 or so. Maybe I'd ride this one to like $50, that would be a potential, but let's just say 50-60 range, somewhere in there. If I can make over 50% on this position over the next, let's say 6-12 months, something like that, I'd probably cover my shares. I'm not going to try to ride this one believing it's going to go to zero or something like that. I think that's just not a good game to play. Let's just put it that way. A lot of shorts try to do that, and they'll try to short a stock to zero, or they try to maximize every penny they can get out of there. Like, it's going to keep going down. I'm not trying to play that game. I'm just trying to basically bank on the fact that I think the stock is going to fall dramatically over the next, 6 to 12 months. It might not fall this week, it might not fall this month, but I believe over the next 6 to 12 months, it will fall a lot, and I want to capitalize on that, as well as obviously, get a little experience with shorting a stock and what it's like to do that, okay? Now, am I willing to short more of the stock? This is obviously a very important question, and the answer is no. I am perfectly good with what I have short. I'm not interested in adding to that short. So let's say it goes to $140. I'm not going to short even more, something like that. Like, I'm perfectly fine with where I'm at with this Peloton short position. I'm good, not interested in shorting anymore. Hope you guys enjoyed this historic video here today. The first time I'm taking you along in this journey, the first time I've ever shorted a stock in my entire life. So I hope you guys really enjoyed this. If you don't mind, smash that thumbs up button. Helps out the YouTube channel in a massive, massive way. I appreciate each and every one of you. And if you want to go ahead and chat about stocks with a ton of other investors out there, you can do it in Stock Hub. That is the first link in the description down there. And hey, maybe we'll even set up, I don't think we have a Peloton Peloton tab yet. Maybe we'll start a Peloton stock tab so the shorts and the longs can battle it out in there every day, and then, you know, the longs can say why Peloton's going to a $100 billion market cap, and the shorts can say why it's going to a $3 billion market cap. You know, a little battle maybe we can get going in there. Thank you for watching and have a great day.